Previously on Lost. Ben tries to convince everybody to go back to the island. Sawyer reads a book. Locke presses buttons. And Megaplay, Turbo Force, and Super NES Buyer's Guide are all spun off from Electronic Gaming Monthly. In a twist tailor-made for a science fiction television show about a time-traveling island, it turns out that Game Players is a spin-off. Also, Richard Alpert doesn't age. But we're going to gloss over that fact because Game Players actually started its life as Game Players Nintendo Buyer's Guide back in 1988. Sold as an unofficial alternative to Nintendo Power, this magazine lasted 3 years and ended up changing its name to Game Player's Strategy Guide to Nintendo Games. 1 year after launching the Nintendo Guide, publisher Signal Research created a spin-off called Game Players. This bi-monthly magazine would cover more than just the Nintendo Entertainment System, which meant previewing games for various Sega, Atari, and NEC consoles. The format proved popular, and in October 1989, the magazine went monthly. Visually, Game Players magazine looked about as sterile as a hospital. The page layout was boring and predictable, filled with previews and reviews that sounded more like press releases. Rarely were the write-ups critical, and the magazine didn't issue proper scores until well into its life. And compared to a magazine like GamePro, Game Players looked bland and lifeless. By 1993, it was clear that the look wasn't going to cut it. The magazine ditched the clinical layout and brought in a whole bunch of pop culture nonsense. They opted for bright neon colors, referencing Beverly Hills 90210, and even scored games with an exclamation point. This extreme makeover allowed the editors to show more of a personality, making it a funnier magazine with better reviews. But with so much competition on the newsstands, Game Players had a hard time staying relevant. In hopes of adding more excitement to the long-running magazine, the publishers changed the name to Ultra Game Players. This was intended to coincide with the Ultra 64, but that connection fizzled out the moment the system changed its name to the Nintendo 64. The relaunched magazine featured an updated design and more serious tone. It only lasted 23 issues. Beyond Game Players and Ultra Game Players, Signal Research published a number of other spin-offs. You may remember Game Players Encyclopedia, Game Players Sega Genesis Strategy Guide, and of course, Game Players Strategy Guide to Game Boy games, which all debuted in 1990. Lost didn't have any spin-offs. There was no After Lost, or Lost Viver, or Lost the College Years, so maybe the analogy doesn't work. But at least it gives me a chance to see Ben getting punched in the face again. Hey, don't leave now! We're going to be talking about different magazines every single day between now and Christmas. That's 29 episodes looking back at classic game magazines. So don't forget to subscribe and check out those other videos. See you tomorrow!